Hello and a warm welcome to all learners. I am delighted to be your facilitator in this engaging session on Survey in Educational Psychology. What is a survey? A survey is a systematic method of collecting information from a group of people. It is defined as a method for collecting and analyzing social data via highly structured and very often detailed interviews and questionnaires in order to obtain information from a large number of respondents presumed to be a representative of a specific population. The survey as a method is one of the most common forms of research methods for collecting primary data from the field. It is a quantitative method and aims to gather data from many respondents to describe the frequency of an event and to generalize results from smaller sample to large population. Surveys are extensively used to collect, analyze varied types of data including social, political, economic, psychological, technical, cultural and educational among others. In education, we don't just deal with facts and scores, we deal with feelings, attitudes, stress, motivation, self-belief and much more. These psychological aspects shape how students learn and how teachers teach. Surveys help us measure invisible experiences. For example, how anxious students are before exams, what motivates them to do homework, how do teachers feel about technology in the classroom. A survey could be conducted to assess students' test anxiety levels before exams or to know how motivated they feel in online classes. Surveys are not just forms with tick boxes. Indeed, they are a scientific way of listening to the voices of students, teachers and parents. When we ask the right questions, we begin to understand people's thoughts, motivations, emotions and behavior. A survey is a structured method of gathering information from individuals using standardized questions. It is commonly used in non-experimental research where we observe without manipulating things. Surveys help us make informed decisions about curriculum design, mental health support, classroom management, policy planning, inclusive education, etc. Now, types of surveys in educational psychology. Based on purpose of the survey, we have attitude surveys. They are commonly used to assess how individuals perceive or feel about particular issues in the learning environment. For instance, a statement like online classes help me better than face-to-face ones reveals a student's personal viewpoint. These surveys provide insight into learner satisfaction, resistance to change and openness to educational innovations, thus guiding decisions in curriculum design and teaching. Number 2. Motivational inventories. They delve into what energizes and sustains student behavior, distinguishing between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation, which is influenced by external rewards. Questions like I enjoy learning new things reflects intrinsic motivation, while I want to get good grades suggests extrinsic motivation. Understanding students' motivational orientations can help educators design more engaging and personalized learning experiences. Now, self-efficacy and self-concept surveys. These types of surveys assess how students perceive their own capabilities and academic identity. While self-efficacy relates to the belief in one's ability to accomplish tasks, self-concept encompasses a broader sense of self-worth in academic areas. For example, A student stating, I believe I am good at math, reveals both confidence and self-awareness. These surveys are essential in identifying students who may benefit from support to build their confidence and academic resilience. Behavioral checklists. These are often administered by teachers or parents to document observable behaviors such as attention span, aggression, or task completion. Statements like gets easily distracted or completes tasks without reminders help detect potential behavior or learning challenges. Such tools are crucial for early intervention and behavioral management in classrooms. Next, social emotional learning (SEL). Surveys measure emotional skills such as empathy, self-regulation and responsible decision making. For instance, a prompt like I try to understand how others feel encourages reflection on interpersonal sensitivity. The data from SEL surveys help schools create emotionally supportive environment that nurture psychological well-being. Now we have diagnostic surveys. They aim to identify specific learning disabilities or psychological conditions like dyslexia, ADHD or anxiety. These tools often include questions targeting cognitive processing, reading difficulties or attention patterns. They are foundational for early screening and guiding referrals for clinical evaluation or special education services. Next, satisfaction surveys. They are widely used to evaluate how students or teachers perceive school facilities, administrative services or instructional programs. Statements like, I am satisfied with the availability of library books, gauge contentment and highlight areas needing improvement, thereby informing institutional planning. Needs assessment surveys. They identify gaps in current resources, teacher training or student support systems. For example, an educator might be asked, what teaching aids are lacking in your classroom? Such surveys guide resource allocation and capacity building initiatives. Then we have feedback surveys. They are commonly employed after workshops, training sessions, school programs to collect participant reflections. A question like, what part of today's training was most helpful? It captures immediate reactions and helps refine future programming. Then we have opinion polls. They are conducted to assess public or stakeholder attitudes toward educational reforms or policy proposals. A question such as, do you support the use of tablet in classrooms? Helps policymakers align reforms with community expectations. Now we have climate surveys. It assesses the overall school environment, focusing on safety, inclusivity, respect, emotional support. Questions like, do you feel safe and respected in school? Highlight the psychosocial health of learning environment and are instrumental in school improvement efforts. Program evaluation surveys. They help determine the success of specific educational interventions or programs. These surveys measure outcomes and guide decisions about continuing, modifying or discontinuing initiatives like reading improvement plans or mentoring programs. Lastly, demographic surveys collect background information such as age, gender, socioeconomic status, language or ethnicity. While not psychological in nature, these data points are essential for analyzing trends, ensuring equity and understanding how background variables influence educational outcomes. Now, based on time, the surveys are further categorized. Surveys can also be classified according to the time frame in which data is collected. Cross-sectional surveys. They offer a snapshot of a population at a single point in time. For example, researchers might survey grade 10 students during exam season to explore levels of academic stress. These surveys are cost effective and useful for understanding immediate issues or attitudes. In contrast, longitudinal surveys collect data from the same group of individuals over extended periods, making it possible to observe changes and development over time. For instance, tracking the same students from grade 1 to grade 5 to monitor their confidence in reading skills would help identify long-term trends and the impact of educational interventions. Now, steps to design an effective survey. Designing a survey in educational psychology is not just about asking questions, it is about crafting a meaningful tool that captures the inner world of students, teachers, or parents. A well-designed survey reflects clarity, precision, cultural sensitivity, and ethical awareness. Now, key steps to create an effective and impactful survey. Step number 1. Define the construct clearly. The first and most essential step to define what you want to measure. Constructs like academic anxiety, teacher burnout, or growth mindset may sound familiar, but they need to be clearly conceptualized before they can be accurately measured. Without a precise definition, your survey may include vague or misaligned questions leading to unreliable results. For instance, before measuring academic anxiety, consider what behaviors or thoughts indicate anxiety in the learning context. Step number 2. Review existing instruments. Before designing a new survey from scratch, it is wise to explore whether reliable and validated tools already exist. Instruments like Motivated Strategies for Learning Questionnaire (MSLQ) or the Teacher Self-Efficacy Scale have undergone rigorous testing for reliability and validity. Using or adapting these tools can save time and ensure that your survey produces credible data. Reviewing literature and expert developed questionnaires also help you avoid common mistakes in item construction. Now, step number 3. Identify your target population. Your survey should be directed at a specific group of participants who best represent the issue you are studying. If you are interested in learning strategies, students would be the ideal respondents. If your focus is on classroom methods, teachers should be surveyed. Likewise, parents are more suitable when exploring home-based learning support or attitudes. It is also important to consider the demographic characteristics of your target group, such as age, language ability, reading comprehension, and cultural background to ensure the questions are understandable and appropriate. Step number 4. Develop the survey tool. Designing the actual questionnaire is both a technical and creative process. It should include a mix of close-ended and open-ended questions. Close-ended formats such as Likert scales, multiple choice questions help gather quantifiable data. Open-ended questions allow respondents to express deeper insights such as what motivates you to study. Additionally, ranking questions, for example, ranking causes of exam stress, can provide comparative insights. Clarity, simplicity, and relevance should guide the wording of all questions. Step number 5. Choosing the mode of administration. Surveys can be administered through various methods depending on accessibility and comfort level of the target group. Online tools such as Google Forms, SurveyMonkeys are efficient and widely used. In areas with limited internet access, paper-based surveys are more suitable. For children or individuals with limited literacy, face-to-face interviews work better. Behavioral studies might require observation checklist instead of verbal responses. The choice of mode can significantly impact response rates and the quality of data collected. Step number 6. Pilot test your survey. Before full-scale administration, the survey should be pilot tested with a small sample from your target group. This helps identify unclear, ambiguous terms, culturally inappropriate items or questions that may be too long or tiring. A pilot test acts like a dress rehearsal. It allows you to make improvements based on real feedback. Adjustments made at this stage can dramatically improve the accuracy and effectiveness of the final survey. Step number 7. Ensure ethical considerations. Every step in your survey process must respect ethical standards. Participants should be fully informed about the purpose of the survey and must give informed consent voluntarily. Anonymity and confidentiality should be guaranteed, especially if the survey deals with sensitive issues like mental health, learning difficulties, or personal experiences. Participation should always be optional and care should be taken not to cause discomfort or distress. Step number 8. Collect and analyze the data. Once the data is collected, it should be carefully organized and analyzed using appropriate tools such as SPSS, R, or Excel. Look for trends, differences, correlations, or emerging themes. Visual tools such as graphs, bar charts, or pie diagrams make results more understandable. Most importantly, ensure that your findings answer the research questions you originally set out to explore and reflect the voices of your participants truthfully. Strengths and limitations of surveys. Surveys offer several advantages in educational psychology. They allow researchers to reach large groups of people quickly and cost effectively. They can tap into internal experiences like motivation, anxiety, or attitude areas that are often invisible in classroom observations. Because many survey questions are close-ended, responses can be statistically analyzed, making it easier to identify patterns and make data-driven decisions. The results from well-conducted surveys can help in curriculum design, teacher training, mental health interventions. However, surveys are not without limitations. Since they usually depend on self-reports, responses can be biased, especially due to social desirability when people answer in ways they think are acceptable rather than truthful. Additionally, surveys may lack depth compared to case studies or interviews. Misunderstood questions can lead to inaccurate data and low response rates can compromise the reliability of findings. For a more holistic understanding, combining surveys with qualitative methods like interviews or observations is often recommended. Real life applications of surveys in education. Surveys are used every day in schools and educational research to guide improvement. For example, to survey about the challenges of online learning, a school principal might use climate surveys to assess the sense of safety and belonging among students, which in turn informs anti-bullying programs. A policymaker could rely on teacher feedback surveys to update and redesign professional development modules. A school psychologist might use diagnostic survey to screen children for learning difficulties like dyslexia or ADHD. Meanwhile, a curriculum developer could use student preference surveys to introduce more engaging instructional materials like videos or visual aids. These examples show how surveys lead to practical, inclusive and evidence-based changes in education. Now to conclude, I would like to conclude by saying that surveys are powerful tools that help us go beyond marks and attendance to understand what learners and teachers feel, think and need. A well-designed survey is not just about collecting details about discovering hidden struggles, listening to unheard voices and uncovering the untapped potential in every classroom. When designed ethically and interpreted carefully, surveys open doors to more inclusive, effective and human-centered education. A good survey doesn't just gather data, it gathers stories, struggles and solutions. Dear learners, I hope you will now feel confident in using surveys as a meaningful research tool in educational psychology. That's all for today. Thank you for being part of this session.